Now, MPs are being asked to back a bill today that would give everybody the chance to take shared parental leave when they have a baby. 4 years ago, the government announced shared parental leave, but it's not available to self-employed people. And even if you are employed, you have to have been in your job for 6 months. Well, now the Lib Dem Deputy Leader Jo Swinson, who became the first MP to take her baby into a Commons debate, is pushing for it to be extended to all couples. Well, we can talk now to Jo Swinson and also to Nick Davies, a dad who's just back at work after taking shared parental leave. Hi, thank you both for coming in today. So, Nick, first of all, you took the shared parental leave. How did that come about? What was the discussion at home?
I think since the policy came in, my wife and I had always had in mind that I was going to take a big chunk of time off. So when she got pregnant, we confirmed that we were going to do that. We thought we would actually like to overlap quite a bit. So we did 4 months together, and then I did 2 months at the end, and we each took 6 months in total. And it was just a wonderful experience, both spending that much time with my son, but also to spend that much time with my wife as well.
So you saw a huge benefit, because I mean, it's a tricky time when that baby comes along, as cute as it is. And I can imagine if there's two of you there, you might have a bit of tension, or not. Is that just my marriage?
To be honest, I think we found it less tense than it otherwise would have been. I think you're bombarded with so much information out there, often contradictory, and if you're on your own trying to navigate through it, it can feel impossible. Whereas I think if there's another person that you can talk to, and hopefully the person that you're good at discussing these things with and making decisions with, it actually hugely reduced the stress for us. So we both enjoyed it massively.
And Jo, you also took shared parental leave. How did that work as an MP and juggling and?
So my second son was born at the end of last June, and I felt as the Deputy Leader of the Lib Dems that around the period of party conference and also in August, when I'm out and about a lot in the constituency, that I wanted to be back doing some stuff. So my husband took some leave at that point, and then he took leave when I came back full time in January. So he then took another 2 months at that point, and we've really enjoyed the ability to share that and to split it in a way that works for us. When our first son was born, I was taking the legislation through the House of Commons, so we weren't able to use shared parental leave. So it's been really positive to be able to do it, and of course that so many thousands of people across the country are now using it too. But I want it to be available to more people, and it was always in the legislation that I took through back in 2013 that came into force in 2015. It was always a first step. It was always supposed to be reviewed and improved on after 3 years, and the government has not done that 3-year review yet. It's a year overdue. We're expecting
busy with Brexit, I guess, at the moment.
Well, but you know, people haven't stopped having babies, and so you know, all the time more couples are having children, and so we need to get on with doing this review.
Nick, did you find it a difficult conversation with your employer? Were you worried about having that conversation as a man saying, I want to take some time off to be with my baby?
To be honest, I think I was quite lucky. So my organisation isn't that large, only about 50 people, but I was already the third person to take 6 months off through shared parental leave, and one of the directors had already taken time off. So I think, you know, culturally, it wasn't seen as a weird or unreasonable thing to do. So no, I was quite lucky, but I know others aren't nearly as lucky.
Lots of people getting in touch with us on this. Tracy Brabin MP tweeted us saying, great to see that you're talking about shared parental leave, but don't forget freelancers who have to make difficult decisions. So freelance dads get no support if they want to take leave. And I guess there is a financial element to this, isn't it? If one of you is the major breadwinner, you have to make sometimes just strategic decisions about who's paying the rent or the mortgage or buying clothes, food.
There is a really big financial element to this, and Tracy's been a great supporter. She's also been promoting a bill to make sure that shared parental leave is extended, and you know, we've been working closely on that. I think it is important that, you know, employers are starting to take this more seriously. We've had some great announcements this week. Diageo have just announced a really good, strong parental pay policy that applies equally to men and women. Aviva have got similar. There's lots of other companies that are doing that, but not all of them have yet. So one of the other things I've pushed for is transparency, so that large companies should have to publish their parental pay policies. And if there is a difference between what they pay women to be on maternity leave and what they pay men to be on shared parental leave, then they should have to justify that, because that difficult question ought to be asked of them. And I think for many of them, they've just not thought that through. And if, of course, they properly pay men to take the leave, it makes it easier for that decision to be made.
Matthew's got in touch on email saying, about 6 months before my baby was due, I was offered a new job, so I took it. it. My old job's owners then offered me better hours and more money, so after a week I went back to my old job. In this week, the management had already filed my P45. Therefore, when my baby was born a month premature, I was not entitled to paternity leave or holiday, so my wife struggled. It would be much more helpful if maternity or paternity leave was available to everybody from day one. Another one here, Laura on email said, I went back to work at 8 months. My husband took shared parental leave for an additional 4 months in 2017. He loved it. He feels he has a wonderful bond with our 2.5-year-old daughter for it. However, the request to exercise his statutory rights to take SPL was not received gladly by his employers. And do you think, Nick, there are sometimes it's difficult for some guys, maybe a bit of stigma to say, actually, I want to take time out and be with my baby?
I think there's a stigma. I think some guys are also not unreasonably worried about their potential career progression, but that's obviously a worry that women have had since day one. So I think actually it gave me more recognition of actually, well, I'm a bit worried about my career. Of course, my wife was worried about her career as well, but her career is no less valuable than mine. And actually, I think employers, if they're not offering equal benefits, they're saying that they can do without their female employees, but they can't do without their male employees, and that's clearly the wrong message, and it's just not true.
Thank you both for coming in. Nick Davies, Jo Swinson MP.